President Obama weighing options to go on the offensive and is considering sending special operation forces to Syria and attack helicopters in Iraq. By the same token, there are reports that Iran may actually join Russia and the United States to discuss Syria's future. It's all very confusing. At the very least, it feels like too little, too late. And now Fox News confirms, according to sources, that Russian planes have been helping Iran deliver weapons into Syria. Former Navy SEALs and Special Ops officers Leif, Babin and Jocko Willink join me right now. And by the way, we do have some special news for you guys. Your book, your new book, Extreme Ownership, just made the New York Times bestseller list. Man, congratulations. That's fantastic stuff.
Thank you.
I'm halfway through, and it's one of the fastest books I've ever read. I read half of it on a flight back home last night. I want to first talk about what President Obama is doing in the Middle East. Leif, he just made a mess of it. I mean, Leif, it just feels like, I know he wanted to be the peacenik. He wanted to get us out of there. He telegraphed it all, and now it feels like just a sloppy last second, too little, too late.
You know what, Charles? We need a strategy. We got to have a strategy. And I think when you're trying to react to every little thing on the ground and you're only focused on immediate political gain, you're never going to actually achieve great results. And so we've got ourselves into a real predicament here. And Russia has maneuvered on us and has basically just smacked us in the face pretty hard. And we've shown them that we're not really going to do anything about it.
Jocko, I think this goes beyond political gain, though. It's just someone who's adhering to a personal philosophy. And I think it's cost a lot of people their lives. And we're all going to look back on this and begin to wonder, was it worth it?
Especially when you've got a situation where this enemy is so blatantly and obviously evil. It's not like there's any gray area here. These are bad guys, and they should be destroyed.
Boots on the ground. We hear the term a lot. It's come up again here recently. Maybe we'll have, quote unquote, some boots on the ground. Reading about the precision that you guys had, how you had to work with other Marines, Army Rangers, Army units, other special ops units. How many boots on the ground would it really take, in your estimate, to really finally rid Syria, Iraq, and maybe the world of ISIS?
I don't think it would take that many.
Really?
I think that's the false narrative that the administration has painted, is it's either nothing or an invasion with 200,000 troops. I mean, the fall of Ramadi, which was, is such a key city that we fought alongside the soldiers and Marines out there of the 1st Armored Division and took that city back in 2006. When Ramadi fell earlier this year, the estimates for ISIS fighters was like 300 to 400. So you're talking just a few hundred troops. You put a few SEAL task units supported by an armored battalion, from U.S. Army, and give them a bunch of aircraft to support. We'll send these guys packing in a heartbeat.
As I read that account, you guys had to win over the tribal leaders. We were won over. You won the peace, but then we abandoned them. Could they ever even trust us again?
That's a really tough question, and they're definitely going to have a hard time trusting us again when we literally walked away at the moment of truth.
All right, I want to talk about your book right now because it's centered on leadership lessons that you learned as Navy SEALs, but ultimately it's applicable to anything, right? Life, personal life, businesses. You go around, you coach individual businesses. The story of the VP who was so reluctant to admit that, yes, he was the problem. I see that a lot in the stock market. Anyone who owns Twitter, anyone who owns IBM, we've got people out there who are running multi-billion-dollar companies, and they won't admit that they're the problem. This is the book for them, isn't it?
It is. I think it's a book for leaders everywhere. And certainly, I might be a little biased, but extreme ownership is so lacking in so many areas. Whether you're talking politics or certainly in the business world, and a lot of times we work with leaders and we work with some outstanding leaders as well. But you do have those people that are like, hey, come in and just whip my team into shape. Meaning that if our company's not doing well, it's my team and they're just not good enough. And those leaders really have to take ownership because they're in charge. And if they don't ever take ownership, admit mistakes, take ownership of failures, you can't change the behavior to get over those actually and succeed and win.
Jocko, do you think there's something, though, overarching aura in this country where there's actually a leadership crisis in America? Because I see it in the public sector. I see it in the private sector. We see a deterioration of the homes. It feels like we've got a leadership crisis, period, across the board.
You know, whether it's a crisis right now, I don't believe it's a crisis yet, because we still, like Leif just said, we work with amazing leaders all the time. And also in the military, we served with amazing leaders. Now, that being said, we definitely see areas, businesses, politicians where there is a lack of leadership, and it's very obvious.
Leif, Babin, Jocko, you guys are amazing. I got my own autographed copy book. No one's going to get this one out of me. Thanks a lot, guys. Congratulations. Number 4, New York Times bestseller list.
Thank you.
All right.